Sales are easy. It's making the call that's hard. Hi, my name is Dave Gallegos. I've spent the last 25 years in the mortgage industry and a lifetime in sales. In this show, I'll bring that experience, expertise, and the experts I've met to you with actionable advice to improve your sales. It's not magic. You just make the call. Hi, everybody. My name is Dave Gallegos. This is Make the Call. Welcome back to our podcast. This is a podcast that is designed for salespeople, primarily in the mortgage and the real estate space, mostly mortgage. I'm the president of a mortgage company, so that's near and dear to my heart, but really do have a heart and passion for helping real estate agents with this stuff. We work in a business that gives you ADD, I think, in my opinion. Learning how to manage time is the subject of the last, or not, you can't manage time. You can only manage because a second to second, you can't manage that. A minute's a minute. It doesn't, you can't slow it down or speed it up. But what you can do is manage your behavior. And that's what this is about. I've been talking about Darren Hardy's excellent program, Insane Productivity. And I'm going through it again right now, probably for the third or fourth time, I think, since I've had it. And so many great reminders. I talked in the previous episodes about once you learn this stuff, you slowly let the bad habits creep back in, like keeping my cell phone near my line of sight. So every time I see I got a text message or I missed a call, I have to check it and see. And it just, all these things that happen to us that interrupts our day is what makes it so hard to accomplish all of our goals. So anyway, I'm up to module 4 in Insane Productivity. And in this module, he dives deep into what he calls the number one productivity killer. That's what we're going to talk about. So you ever met somebody who's always seems to be in a hurry, no matter what's going on? You ask them how things are going. They always have that "I'm so busy" response. Do you ever respond that way? Do you find yourself doing that? According to Hardy, part of that issue is that these people have a lot. Have you met people that you think they're kind of addicted to being busy? There's a reason for that. Being busy and being able to tell everybody that you talk to that you're really busy, it actually feels great. He makes the point that everyone likes to look busy. Some people actually make a career out of it. They're always rushing around, but they don't seem to accomplish very much. And take a step back for a minute. In the mortgage and the real estate space, if you're talking to a client, maybe a new potential customer or a customer that you've done business with in the past, and they ask you how things are going, and you say, "Oh man, I'm so busy," you might be sending them a message that says you're too busy for them, and they don't want to make it worse for you. You have to be very careful about the language that you use when you talk to people about this. A better answer to how things are going is, the market's great no matter what's going on. How about you? What's going on for you with your house? Are you guys thinking about buying or selling? Or, and if you're in the mortgage space, if somebody's asking you, how's it going? Just say, "Man, the market's great. We've been really busy." I don't even know if I want to say we've been really busy. The market's great. How's things going for you? And the market's great. It doesn't sound like you're too busy. So you have to be careful with what you say. But the truth is, and I think I agree with Hardy when he says this, the truth is that being busy equals being out of control. Movement is not progress. Activity is not productive. And rushing does not produce results when you rush around. The number one killer of productivity, and where all of this goes, is multitasking. When you're trying to do two things at once. I've written about multitasking to our group. I've coached our team on this subject, many times in the past. One of the reasons that I talk about multitasking all the time is because I am a world-class addict of multitasking. And what I want to make sure that I clarify that statement, I don't think I'm a very good multitasker at all. In fact, nobody is a good multitasker. And it's because you can't multitask. You can't do two cognitive functions at the same time. In other words, you can't read a book and then write something else, not something else that you're not reading at the same time. You can't do both because it requires too much cognitive bandwidth. Like, you don't have the bandwidth for that. None of us do. You can walk and chew gum. You can listen to music while you're working. You can listen to a podcast while you're working out instead of listening to music. That would be a good thing. Listen to Insane Productivity while you're working out. You can do that. You can't, fill in the workbook that you're doing, but you can listen to it and let the stuff get into your head. But it isn't possible for you to actively dissertate what you're learning, right? Like you can't, I don't even know if dissertate what you're learning is the correct term, but I don't think that you can't actually conceptualize everything that he's talking about. So, but when it comes to being able to do two functions at the same time, you can't be watching a Zoom webinar and reading your email at the same time. You're going to only be able to do one of those things, and you might be able to kind of, you might feel like you can do both of them at the same time, but your brain is actually switching between the two tasks. In other words, and I've done this, right? I used to ask people, if you hear me talking to you on the phone and I start to slow down my talking, my wife, I do this to my wife all the time. She gets mad. She threatens to hang up when I'm talking to her on the phone, and she hears my keyboard clicking. If she hears my keyboard clicking while we're talking on the phone, that's a clue that I'm not listening. And then I'm really slow to respond. If you do that to a customer, you're going to lose them, right? So you should be really focused on what you're doing in the moment for that very reason. There's a CNN World Report. Multitasking actually makes you dumber than when you're stoned. Professor Clifford Nass of Stanford University talked about this as well, that one of the shocking discoveries of the research is that people that are high multitaskers are actually lousy at everything that is necessary for the skill of multitasking. They just think they can do a bunch of stuff at the same time. This is such an interesting subject because I've done this so often with people, I've done it myself. We feel like we get through an entire day. Like I've worked my entire day sometimes, and I'll get to the end of the day and I feel like I haven't accomplished a thing. And if that's ever happened to you, the reason is that you're doing a million, but you were busy you could be busy the whole day, answering emails, doing all the things. And the fact that you didn't get any work done, you get to the end of the day, it's like, I feel like I didn't get anything done because all you did was react to whatever showed up in your inbox or whatever the phone rang. You had to react to all that stuff. That's how you have one of those days. And if it sounds like I know what I'm talking about, it's because I do, because I'm as guilty as anybody of this. And and that's the reason I'm going through insane productivity again right now, is because I'm trying to correct some of those habits. I've noticed that I've started to backslide a little bit, and I'm not doing things at the level that I want to be doing them at. And so it takes a lot of practice to get really good at this stuff. And nobody's perfect at it, right? But you have to remember, when I started the subject on this podcast, is that everybody, Elon Musk and you have the same amount of hours in the day, right? Elon Musk gets 24, and so do we, right? So Bill Gates gets 24, Warren Buffett gets 24. These high achievers that are getting so much done, they have the same amount of time as we do. So that's the thing that you want to learn about. And the only way that you can improve in this area is to commit to doing a single task, one thing at a time. So the example that I give is that I write a blog post called The Friday Focus, and I've been writing it now since the beginning of 2019. I'm up to I just hit number 300. So I've been written 300 weeks in a row, and I've stayed with it because I publicly said I was going to write one every week. So now I have to, and I've been doing it. And when I sit down to write that Friday, it's blocked in my calendar. So I have a time blocked in my calendar, and I can do this one of two ways. I can start working on it and do a bunch of other things at the same time. And the amount of time that goes between the time I started working on it and the time I finish it, sometimes I won't even finish. If I start at 1:00 in the afternoon, sometimes I won't even finish it that day. I might have to take me until tomorrow until the next day to finish it, so that I can get it to the person here in the office that takes care of getting it distributed for me. That's one way that I do it. The other way that I do it that works really, really well is I shut Outlook off. I just close Outlook altogether. I can't get any email. I turn off my phone, and I put my office phone on Do Not Disturb. So when I say I turn off my phone, my cell phone, I don't actually power it down. It's on silent. It can't ring me. And then I set it out of line of sight. So I can't, if I don't see it, I don't grab it. I've noticed that about me. If I don't see it, I don't grab it. I don't think to grab it. If I see it, or if it's in my hip pocket and I know it's there, I'll reach back to grab it. But so I move it out of the way, and then so Outlook is closed and my office phone is on Do Not Disturb. You can't ring me. You can't get to me. And then I have a sign, I print up Word doc, and I have the word jam session on it, and I tape it to the glass on my door in my office. So if somebody did come to my door, they would see that I'm in a jam session and they wouldn't knock. Now, if somebody was on fire, they'd knock, but that's never the case. Although we all think it is, and we think we have to be available all the time. When I do that, so when I do the first way, where I'm not blocking time, when I do it that way, like I said, I even finish. I start at 1:00. I mean, leave the office at 6:00 and it's still not done because I never blocked the time and got focused and just finished it. I kept doing other things and I have to finish it the next day sometimes. When I do it the second way, where when I block out all the distractions and I focus on this one task, literally I can finish it in 30 minutes. That's stupid that I could do it one way and not feel like I'm accomplishing anything, or do it the second way, the easy way, and do it in 30 minutes or less. And so that's amazing when you realize how much more productive you can be. And when that's done, the psychic bandwidth that I get back, my mental bandwidth that I get back, because now it's done. I'm not thinking about it anymore. I finished it and it's off my radar. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to finish it because it's bugging me the whole time it's not done. Well, I can complete it in less than half an hour. And I think that's all you need to know and understand about this idea of what the number one killer of productivity is. It's doing many things at the same time. I'm going to talk some more about it in the upcoming episode too, because this is a subject that you could talk about. The subject of multitasking, you could talk about this for hours, I think. The other example that I've always given to loan officers is because whenever I'm working one-on-one with a loan officer or doing some one-on-one coaching and we're in their office with them, the first thing I look at is their inbox and their email inbox. And if it's, thousands of emails that are unread and they're not organized in their email, that's the first clue that things are just out of control. And if the second thing is that there's hundreds of icons on their computer desktop, that's another thing that they're out of control. It's just, we deal with a lot of stuff in this business. We deal with all kinds of activity, all kinds of tasks, all kinds of material, all kinds of information. And if we can't come up with a way to stay organized and stay on point, you can do business and you can make money, but you can't do volume. You can't do scale. You're not going to ever be able to do that until you figure out a way to stay organized and stay dialed in and have a way to process everything as quickly and efficiently as possible so that it's just increasing your bandwidth so that you have the capacity for more. The only way you can scale your business is to have capacity for more. Another example that I use with loan officers when they say they have to do two things at once, or they're always watching their emails and they're always, because I try to get them to shut down their email while they're working on something. Let's say the loan officer's got to go through some borrower documentation to verify their income and calculate their income or whatever, but they keep their inbox going at the same time and they keep answering emails while they're doing that. Take them all afternoon. Well, no different than my writing the Friday Focus. But when they can shut it down, it's like, well, what if I miss something? And it's like, okay, let me explain to you how this works. Because if you're one-on-one with a client, and if you're a real estate agent and you're showing client houses, right? If you're showing clients houses and you're showing them one house at a time, right? Or you're in a listing appointment with a client and you're going through your listing presentation with the client, you are not, during those very high impact moments of your business, you are not answering the phone and answering emails while you're in those conversations. My question is that if you can stay focused during that time, so that you can complete this high impact activity that dramatically impacts it. Well, you can do it anytime. You can do it anytime you want, right? Anytime that you want to be that focused, you can be. You just have to decide, because there isn't anything about me writing a blog post that's as critical as a listing presentation or a buyer presentation showing buyers' houses. And if you're a loan officer, your time is just as valuable when you want to stay focused on either doing that income calculation with the borrower or being face-to-face with the borrower, right? When you're sitting here having a conversation with a borrower, you're not answering the phone and answering your emails while you're face-to-face with the borrower if you're on Zoom. And you better not be looking at your email while you're on the phone with a client, while you're on a Zoom call with a client. Because if you are, the client's going to know, and you're not going to get that deal because you're going to lose. You don't have a connection with that client because they're going to think that they're not the most important thing. And that's what's really critical about this. So I'm going to talk more about this in the next episode, but just know that doing two tasks at the same time is killing you and it's stressing you out and you're less productive. You're doing work that is substandard. You're making more mistakes because you're not staying focused on one task at a time. This is all fact. This isn't like I'm not guessing at this. And I've seen it play out over and over again. Next week, we're going to talk about some more of these strategies. What I want you to try to do at the end of this episode is just try this for a week. The next time you sit down to work on any kind of a project at all, I want you to close your Outlook. Just try it. Just try it once. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb and make sure that no one can interrupt you. and then just work on that one thing until it's done and time yourself. I promise you won't be disappointed. You're going to be shocked, actually. You're going to be shocked at how fast you got it done. And you're going to start to look at the things that you do in your life much differently. We'll talk more next on the next one. But here's the quote from Darren Hardy, that you can do anything once you stop trying to do everything. And isn't that true? Thanks, everybody. Enjoy this. This is Dave Gallegos. This is Make the Call, the podcast. Thanks for listening. Please give me a rating, share it with your friends, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for listening to Make the Call with Dave Gallegos, brought to you by Zenith Home Loans. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the show anywhere you listen to podcasts, and share the show with a friend or colleague who would also find value.